It's all about truth. All of it. Every single thing. All boils down to the truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free. All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth. Today we are going to be doing a live Q&A, bit of an AMA for our Steemit followers, and of course everyone here on YouTube as well. So just bear with me for one moment. I'm just going to go ahead and share this broadcast, make sure we're posting it all around on Facebook and on Twitter. And if you guys could do the same, that would be greatly appreciated. Let people know we are indeed live right now. I'm just posting it now. I'm going to tweet that out as well. And that has been sent. Let me just quickly post this to Steemit as well. And guys, if you're not there yet, again, steemit.com, steemit.com is the website. And we're going to be there taking questions from anybody who's following me. steemit.com/@pressfortruth. Okay, we are live on Steemit. We have posted on Facebook. Let me just check to make sure we have some people tuning in. Hello, hi. Elise from New Brunswick, maybe. NB, hello, you're the first one. Sue, hi Sue. Donald Smith, hey, what's up? All right, we have people tuning in. So great to have you guys here. Be sure to get your questions in. We've got lots we could talk about today. I've noticed we're going through a little bit of a crypto bloodbath. So if anybody's interested in the Bitcoin space and what's going on with these altcoins, you can certainly ask me about that. We have a town hall meeting coming up in just a couple of days from now with Justin Trudeau. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he's been on a little bit of a tear lately, going around Canada, various town halls, and he's making one stop in British Columbia and one stop only this Friday morning in Nanaimo, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to make an appearance there and see if I can get in a question. Now, this one is going to be a little bit different. Apparently, the way they're going to do this one is you're not going to register or pre-register for questions. It's just going to be a free-for-all. They're apparently just going to get people to raise their hands, and they're going to go around the room, and they're going to select people for questions that are unscreened, apparently. So I think I'm gonna go there and take my chances and see if I can maybe get in a question. So let me know what you guys would think would be a good question to hit up Justin Trudeau with live in front of a full town hall meeting. And we may have to just confront him like our friends, Josh and Lee have recently done. I don't know if you caught my friend Lee confronting Trudeau at the town hall meeting there in I think it was in Hamilton. Man, she really let him have it, and it was awesome. Sanford says hi. Donald Smith says he wants to go. Cool, go for it, man. It's look it up. It's on February 2nd in the morning in Nanaimo. I'm definitely going to be trying to make it there. Mikey O asks, where are the 400,000 immigrants into Canada coming from? Good question, Mikey. There are a lot of, as you say, immigrants flooding into Canada. In fact, one of the border places along Quebec and New York, down around there, has been severely breached. And I think a lot of the immigrants coming over that particular passageway were Somalian. So, and I do recall that happened when President Trump alluded to this idea that he may be returning Somalian refugees back to their homeland, which created this flood of immigrants to pass on through the Quebec border. I think at one point we were getting hundreds a day, and for the most part they were Somalian. But as we know, Justin Trudeau is welcoming with open arms just about anyone. Doesn't matter if you're even affiliated with ISIS. He's seems to be okay with having these types coming on into the country. So yeah, they're coming from all over, Mikey. But some of the larger influxes lately have been Somalian, it seems. I'm just going to check some more questions here. Hey, what's up, Dan? Long time listener, first time caller, says Jay. That's not a question, but thank you for being a long time viewer, Jay. All right, I'm going to quickly refresh the Steemit post, see if we have any questions coming in here. Someone says, this looks lovely, kudos. Well, thank you, sir. I'm glad you like it. And I want to double back here and see if we have anybody giving me any suggestions on what I should be hitting up Trudeau with in a couple of days from now. I'm probably going to hit him up on the open border idea, and his relationship with George Soros, and how this leftist agenda is pushing an alliance with Islam, essentially. But there's so many issues that could be brought up. I would like to touch on the cannabis issue as well, but you got to pick one. You can't. If I do get a question in, it's probably going to be one, and that's about it. Possibly a follow-up. But it would be great to hammer him on the cannabis issue as well, because he's pulling us along, roping us along here. As you guys know, they've announced when it's going to be legalized and then pushed that back and then pushed it back again. I think the latest is July 1st, 2018, Canada Day of this year. There's no way that's actually going to happen. It's going to be pushed back again. And the bottom line is, as we've said many times, he's getting his ducks in a line here to be able to monopolize the industry when it does become eventually legalized. They're going to push out all the mom and pops who built the industry, and they're going to be giving all the LPs, the licensed producers, all the licenses to these licensed producers, these insiders, who they've buddied up with and made these insider crony capitalist deals with. So that's what's going on. It's not a true free market here in Canada. So I think it'd be great to hit them up on the monopoly that the Trudeau government is setting up for the cannabis industry. But again, I mean, with so many things going on in the world, this looming Syrian war that Canadians are likely going to be marched right into. So many things. So let me know what you guys think would be a good one. This is coming up like in just 2 days from now. So let me know what you think would be a good one to hit him up with. Maybe it won't be a question. Maybe we'll just call him a scumbag like my friend Josh did, or just give him a piece of our minds like our friend Lee did. But it would be nice to get in a question in a respectful manner so that he doesn't just dismiss it outright and get on the defensive, but actually has to answer the question. I'd love to get into the Bank of Canada with him. Talk about monetary reform and the need to look at monetary reform for this country moving forward. So many things, so many ways to go with that one. So I don't really know. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that. That reminds me, let me know. I'm going to keep checking the comments. Also, I need some input from you guys, some tips on. I've been doing some new videos lately where I kind of mix it up a little bit, the style, and I'm talking about 3 different topics in one video, and it's people seem to like it. It's good to mix it up like that, and I enjoy producing those videos. So I think I'm going to do more of them. But at this point, I didn't really think of a title for it, for the series, or what to call this thing. And so far, I've just been calling it What You Need to Know. I'm not super sold on that. So I don't know, if you guys could help me come up with a better name for my 3 story segment videos. that's better than what you need to know? Let me know. Give me your suggestions here in the chat, and also give me your suggestions in the chat after the video is done processing, because all these comments disappear after the video goes up there. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on what would be a better title for that video series. What's better than what you need to know? It's got to be something. All right, I'm going to quickly check the YouTube for a few more questions. Neil Busby says, waiting for the Quebec mosque shooting update, what was the motive? Who were the shooters? Excellent question, Neil. Yeah, the 1 year anniversary of that mosque shooting in Quebec just passed a couple of days ago, where Alexander Bissonnette went into a mosque and killed 6 people, injured 19 others. We still have absolutely no mention of a motive whatsoever. But you may notice the virtue signaling and the grandstanding coming from Justin Trudeau and many on the left. Virtue signaling and saying that we need to end Islamophobia because of this, and that racism should have no place in Canada. I don't know where they get off talking about racism and Islamophobia when a motive has literally not been announced at all. We have zero clue as to what was going on with Alexander Bissonnette when he walked into that mosque and he killed those people. I have a bit of an inkling myself. For those of you who have been following my coverage of that event, you'll know I flew to Quebec the very next day. I went there to cover this. I interviewed people who were there. I went to the mosque. I spoke with locals. I uncovered a lot of very, very concerning, interesting information. I applied for Access to Information Act requests to get the CCTV footage from the mosque given to me. But I've been strung through bureaucratic red tape and have never was given the tapes, but I wanted to see who went into this thing with him, if anybody, if he was alone. There's lots of unanswered questions at this point, but what we're seeing is the grandstanding and the virtue signaling on this idea that this was a hate crime against Muslims. But I've been hesitant to release the information that I've found because, as sure as I am that this is true, I have yet to have those, documentable, provable facts that you could hold up in a court of law. So I haven't publicly, officially announced what I think the motive is, but I think any of you guys who have been watching my videos for quite some time can probably figure out where I'm going with this, and why don't I just fill you in. According to my research there, ladies and gentlemen, it's very quite possible that Alexander Bissonnette was actually gay, and that he was involved with a Muslim in a secret relationship. They kept the relationship secret because the Muslim was a part of a mosque. Islam obviously strongly rejects homosexuality. And according to my research, it seems that the boyfriend decided to choose Islam over the relationship. And you guys maybe have gone through breakups before. Love can do crazy things to people. And it seems that it's very quite possible that this was a breakup gone very, very bad, where a young Alexander Bissonnette, in the rage of being dumped, went in and dealt with the people who brainwashed his boyfriend's mind into thinking he should choose Islam over their relationship. That, according to my research, is what took place there in Quebec, ladies and gentlemen, which would suggest he's not racist at all. In fact, quite the opposite. He was in love with the Muslim. It would suggest that he's not, this is not an Islamophobic hate crime. It would suggest that this was a love spat gone bad, possibly even a love triangle. That's why I wanted to see the footage. Maybe there was a third person involved in the relationship. I don't know. But what I do know is people are just grandstanding on this event as if it was an act of racism, Islamophobia, and a hate crime towards Muslims. According to my research, that's not even close to the truth. But God willing, the truth will eventually come out. I'm sure there's a smoking gun out there. I've been looking for it for over a year. And that's it. That's my piece, guys. That's what I think went on there in Quebec. So thank you for the question. Yes, hopefully all this will come to light. And then we can look back and say, look, everything you guys were doing on Twitter, on your social media, enacting Motion 103, this all came from the Alexander Bissonnette incident. But it may all have to be retracted because it could be all based on nothing. I mean, look at the hijab scissor hoax. Justin Trudeau tweeted about that, right? And it was proven a few days later to be a complete hoax. The story was just simply not true. Did he retract the tweet? No. It stays in the public consciousness that that was a hate crime against Muslims. So it seems the damage has already been done. Like, you know, even if the truth comes out about Alexander Bissonnette, and we do find out that he was just involved in a gay relationship, and you know he got dumped, so he lost his cool. We may discover that to be the truth, but it's not going to affect. It's not going to change the fact that Canadians are already conditioned to believe that this is a part of Canadian culture now. You know, I've been talking about this for well over a decade. It was in 2006 when the Toronto 18 came out. That was a huge setup. It was a CSIS informant who set up those boys, and this happens time and time again. Anna Cordery and her boyfriend, I can't remember his name, who were supposedly going to do the Canada Day bombing plot, you know, that got foiled by the FBI and CSIS. Turns out they were also set up by an informant. All these foiled terror plots, we find out, were people who were coerced into doing these types of things, and then the authorities stop them before they do it, what they tried to mold and shape and coerce them into doing. So we're being played here. We're being set up. We're being conditioned for an attack, in my opinion. In fact, a video I made called Conditioning Canadians for the War on Terror, I put out a few years ago. It's really, really important information in that video. So check that out if you have if you get a chance. Just go to YouTube, type that into your search, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is all by design. Okay. Let me see if we have any other questions. Sue Duda says, "Let the prisoners out who are in there for pot?" ? Yeah, you're probably referring to all the people who have been arrested under Justin Trudeau since they've announced that they're going to be legalizing cannabis, and these people should not have to be behind bars. I absolutely agree. Dan, how did you do hacking the Matrix? Oswaldo Gallardo. Okay, Oswaldo. Wow, you are a long-time viewer. That's going back a long time ago. Just to fill everybody else in, I put out a video. Gosh, that's probably 7 or 8 years ago. I'm not even sure how long ago. A while ago now, where I was walking around in downtown. I believe this is probably the one you're talking about, where I'm walking around in downtown Toronto, and you see all the telescreens. It's almost like our version of Times Square, and we play the videos of the Twin Towers collapsing and Building 7 with the message Google Building 7 that shows up on the screens. Little bit of a spoiler alert, that was video trickery, I'm afraid. And I will be honest, Gregory, I wasn't sure if I wanted to put that video out back when I did it. It was a friend of mine who said, you know what, I do motion tracking editing, it's called. And if you come up with a cool concept for how we could do some motion tracking editing, I'll throw together a video for you. So I came up with that idea. I said, you know what, that would be cool if you could make it look like these videos were playing on the screens, in order to raise awareness about 9/11 and the various documentary films that I was trying to promote at the time. So it it did effectively do its job. It raised a lot of awareness, and it really got people intrigued. But I was kind of hesitant and not sure if it's an approach I should take. And I've never done anything like that ever again. It's the only time I've ever done a video like that. But if you guys are curious, check it out. It was fun. I thought it was cool. I think it's called Hacking the Matrix or something like that. If you just use the search feature on my YouTube channel, you'll find that. But good question. Thank you for that. Okay. Jay Goddard says I should ask Potato Head what the definition of Islamophobia is. That is a really good call, Jay. Put him on the spot and have him define this nonsensical term that really was created by the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, Islamophobia is such a stupid word because obviously a phobia implies an irrational fear of something, right? But as I've said in my video many times, there's nothing irrational about fearing or rejecting, I should say, this culture that is at odds with our Western Christian standards and our values here. So it's not a phobia. It's a very rational concern, as a matter of fact. So yeah, I'd like him to define the word. That's a good call. I'm gonna keep that one in mind. Maybe I'll throw that one in there. Scott Rutherford, have you heard of Dana Dumford, the nuclear proctologists? No, I'm not sure. Maybe, no, I'm not sure. Maybe there was a lady who was just arrested in Germany for, questioning the Holocaust, and I think she was Canadian. I don't know if that's who you're talking about, but yeah, not sure. All right. I'm going to hop on back over to the Steemit. Again, folks, steemit.com/@pressfortruth. This is the new social media website that pays you in cryptocurrencies to post. It's been absolutely phenomenal for me. And, this post that I just did, we've only been going for, what, half an hour? It's already up to 12 Steem dollars that I've earned. And I think Steem dollars are trading at around 5 times right now. So 5 times 12 at the American dollar is, basically what I've made in the last half hour on Steemit. Okay, somebody says, hey Dan, I've been trying to get the word out for a month or so about DLive, a live streaming service on the Steemit blockchain. Just wondering, have you heard about it, and would you be interested in doing a few live streams over there? Yes, absolutely. I completely forgot about it, to be honest. I recall hearing that when it was announced. I don't really know how it works, but I'm definitely interested in trying a live stream on the Steemit blockchain. Don't know if that would be separate from YouTube. I suppose it would, but I'm absolutely down for trying that. I want to support anything that they're doing there at DTube because they've been showing me tremendous support. Excellent suggestion, Venanonymous, or however you say that. Okay, let me just quickly skim through. I feel 2018 will be a year of war between bankers and cryptocurrencies, someone says on Steemit. Yeah, well, it's already happening, my friend. The war was launched, you could say, in 2009 with the white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto, and it still could be argued about which cryptocurrency, which one is going to emerge as the bankers' go-to system of control. But what we do know is that the bankers are looking to utilize blockchain technology now in order to secure their futures of being able to steal and rob fundamentally with fiat and lending out of nothing. This is how they've been operating for centuries now, and they're not just going to allow something like Bitcoin to just come along and take away everything they've been trying to build for centuries here. So yes, there's a major clash happening behind the scenes right now as the powers that be are scrambling to emerge, as the the architects of crypto. So I think we're already seeing an interesting scenario play out in early 2018. A lot of people are nervous about the current bloodbath we're seeing, but as someone who's been involved in this space for a number of years, I've seen this time and time again. In fact, just about every year in January, we see these kinds of dips. So really, it's a good time to buy right now. Everything's on a discount. Everything's down. I do think things could continue to slide moving into February, but I do see big things coming for 2018 in regards to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and that whole blockchain space in general. So if you are involved in the space and getting a little nervous, sit back, relax, hodl, hodl, hodl. That's where I'm at this stage in the game. Okay, let me just refresh the Steemit and see if we have any more coming in from there. Don't forget to get me in your suggestions too for what I should be confronting Justin Trudeau about or asking him at the town hall. Okay, let me just check the chat again here on YouTube. Hey Dan, ask Trudeau about his NAFTA TPP stance. It stinks. I can't help but think the F-35 fiasco plays a part. Thank you, Jay Kerfont. Yeah, good call. I should absolutely ask him about various trade deals, NAFTA in particular, and the TPP. I've as much as I hate to say it, I like what Trump has done on those trade deals. I mean, getting out of the TPP was great. Talking even alluding to the abolishment of NAFTA is a good thing, and we've tracked this extensively. I've made 2 documentary films about the progression of these various free trade agreements that have happened over the years, and in my film United We Fall, we track them chronologically, starting back from the general agreement on trade and tariffs in I think it was late 1940s, early 50s, moving right on up to the free trade area of the Americas, right on up to the North American Free Trade Agreement. We got into the Security and Prosperity Partnership signed under Paul Martin. We get into the North American Leaders Summit that was continued under Stephen Harper, and now we're just continuing with Justin Trudeau under these trade deals that are marching us towards this concept of a North American Union, this idea of uniting the 3 countries into one. I've made 2 documentary films about that, one called The Nation's Deathbed and one called United We Fall. So yeah, his foreign trade policies are terrible for Canadians, and again, I never thought I'd be saying this, but I would have to agree with Trump. We got to get out of these deals. What is the best way to donate to you, Dan? Well, thank you very much for that question. The best way is to go to pressfortruth.ca/donate. Pressfortruth.ca/donate, because there you have multiple options. You could either donate through Bitcoin, you can use your PayPal account. There's an option there to do that. You can sign up as a patron, a PFT patron at our Patreon account, or you can sign up there as a Patreon alternative. They're all at that link as well, where you can contribute a monthly amount. If you want to throw $5, $10 a month, you can do that there as well. Or if you just want to do a one-time lump sum donation, you can do that there as well through PayPal or what do we have? PayPal, Bitcoin, Patreon, and the Patreon alternative. And again, all that is at pressfortruth.ca/donate. And of course, we do need your guys' support. Obviously, I'm a one-man show here, guys. I don't know if people realize that. I do the research, I do the video shooting, I do the editing, this is it, right? So there's no corporate funding, there's no backing, there's no help coming financially from anyone other than you guys, the viewers, directly. and that happens through patrons and donations. And so, yes, if you would like to join as a patron, I would be greatly appreciative of your support. Because as you know, it takes a lot to bang out these videos as I do every day. This is what I do. I sleep, eat, and breathe Press for Truth day in and day out, 24/7. And I'm going to continue. But the success of how good my videos can be is really going to depend on you know how well I'm going to be able to sustain myself, and that's going to boil down to how many of you guys are going to be able to pitch in and help me out. I mean, I've got what, over 100 and I don't even know, 130,000 subscribers right now, I think, or 104. I think I have 145,000 subscribers. So just imagine if even just half of those people gave $1 a month. My production value, my editing, I'd be able to hire reporters. I could hire editors. So as soon as I'm done this or other videos, instead of having to sit there and edit it for the rest of the evening, I could just start working on another video and start putting out more content while I have somebody else editing my previous videos. So many things I'd like to do, but as you can imagine, it's not very easy financially. So any support is greatly appreciated. Okay, Dan, what do you think would help stop government corruption? Asks Luke. Well, complacency. I think what would happen to help stop it is people supporting it and propping it up. I think non-compliance would help stop it. We don't have to, shut it down, like these leftists do. All we have to do is turn our backs on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's easier said than done sometimes, but if you have a problem with the bank, for instance, you can't go in and just yell at the bank teller. They're not the problem. It's the higher ups. What you need to do is remove yourself from that system entirely and not be dependent on them whatsoever. Obviously, it's easier said than done when it comes to getting out of debt and not, being a slave to the bank, because as I've said many times, when you have a mortgage, multiple credit cards, line of credit, all these sorts of things, the bank can just squeeze at any time they want simply by raising interest rates or various other means, and boom, you're screwed. So becoming no longer dependent on the banks is up to you. Sometimes it's easier said than done, as we said, because a lot of times you're going to have to lower your standards. I mean, you may have to live in something that's not quite as nice as what you're used to, but at least you'll own it outright and not owe anything to the bank. I would much rather live in a broken down little shack and own it outright and owe nothing to the bank than have some mortgage for some lame condo or something like that. So yeah, global non-compliance, Luke, is really where it's at. You want nothing to do with the education system? Don't go. You want nothing to do with the banks? Don't go. You don't like what your politicians are doing? Stop voting them in. This is another one that people have to really start to understand, is that if you continue to look to that alternate, the Coke versus the Pepsi, the blue versus the red, the left versus the right, you're just going to continue to be played for a bunch of fools. That's what they've been doing for a long time. That's what the system of democracy is actually all about. It's a system of control. It's the illusion of choice, and the more we play into that by giving them their vote is the worse off we're going to be. So global non-compliance, Luke, is where it's at. You don't like it anymore, as I don't have anything to do with it anymore, as I don't. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff. Let me just scroll back. Okay, lots of comments. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to look for A question mark. There's one. I always meant to ask why your hair always has a gray spot. Is it hereditary? Ray, are you talking about... I'm mirrored right now. This? Hey, Kaiser, take it easy, bud. I didn't always have it. I think I just started getting it when I, getting older and stressing out. In fact, I got a lot of new gray in my beard. I've noticed like gray patches coming in into my beard. I don't know. It's just all a part of aging, I suppose. I don't mind it. I actually like the little gray part right there. I actually match my dog. Speaking of which, I'll show you exactly. Show you what I'm talking about. Hang on, let me get the camera over here to make sure you guys can see. So as you can see, Kaiser Sose also has a little gray patch, and under his chin and on his chest. This is my my bestest little buddy Kaiser Sose, and yeah, we have matching beards, as you can see. So yeah, all right, buddy, you gotta stay quiet over here, pal. All right. Come on, focus. Come on. All right, I need this camera to set the focus again. Oh, stupid autofocus. Come on. Right here. There we go. All right, we got it back. Okay. Felix Herman is asking, will you attend Bilderberg 2018? Absolutely, I'll be at Bilderberg 2018. I have been covering Bilderberg since 2006, and I've gone to, gosh, I don't even know how many now. I haven't gone to every one of them since 06. 06 was my first one. But yeah, guaranteed I'll be there. I go every single year now, wherever it is. I'll be booking it. I'll be there. Yeah, absolutely. So you can definitely count on coverage from Press for Truth at every single Bilderberg moving forward. If you haven't seen it, Felix, I made a documentary film about Bilderberg, about my coverage of the 2012 meeting in Chantilly, Virginia, and that film is called The Turning Point. It's available for free on my website and on my YouTube channel, as are all my documentary films. And The Turning Point covers the Bilderberg group, obviously, but we get into the Canadian connection in regards to Bilderberg. And we also discuss the alternative media and the rise, the opposition to Bilderberg that we've seen over the last 40 years, 30 years. I mean, when I started covering Bilderberg in 06, there was, let me think, 4 investigative journalists there. Me, Alex Jones, Jim Tucker, and Daniel Estalon. That was it. And there was maybe 10 protesters. Last few years, like in London, England, there was thousands of people, thousands. At Chantilly, Virginia in 2012, there were hundreds of journalists there, live streaming and, producing videos. It was amazing. So that's kind of what we covered in our film, The Turning Point, that, it's a turning point for the Bilderberg group. They're no longer operating in the shadows. We've managed to shine the light on those cockroaches enough that they're scurrying, and they've, to the point where they've kind of had to hide in plain sight by officially launching a website, and now publishing the agendas and the attendee list. And that's why we go, because we often find discrepancies in the agenda. We find discrepancies in the attendee list. I like to document who goes so that we can prove that they're lying to us. That there's some people on the inside there who they're not letting us know are in fact there. So yes, guaranteed, I will be there. Okay. Let's see if I got any more questions. Jake says I should call it Dick's Picks. My new video, maybe my new video segment where I cover three topics in one video. I don't know if that's better than what you need to know. So far, I'm sticking with what you need to know. Okay, ask Trudeau why he swears allegiance and fidelity to the Queen of England. Are we truly a sovereign nation? Good question. Papapist, or however you say that. Why does he swear allegiance to the Queen? Yeah, I mean, this is something a lot of people don't understand about Canada. The fact that we're very different from America in that way, where they're a republic and we're a constitutional monarchy. You know, which is very different than what a lot of people have. And in fact, the Governor General, who is appointed basically above the Prime Minister by the Queen, really has the final say. So it's more like a dictatorship here, because you know, the Prime Minister is just the Queen's lackey, and the Governor General under the Queen really has more say than the Prime Minister himself. So it's really a joke. That would be a good one to bring up potentially. All right, so we got the Queen issue, we got the ISIS issue, we have the monetary reform issue, we have the cannabis issue. So far, I'm leaning towards, you know, having him define Islamophobia and, you know, get him to talk about opening up the borders to ISIS. But that's so far in the lead. Maybe I'll do a poll. Maybe I'll finally use that Twitter poll thing to see what would be a better route to take when it comes to confronting the Prime Minister. Right, let me quickly hop on back over to Steemit, steemit.com/@pressfortruth, where we're taking all the questions from the comment section. Okay. Do you think Bitcoin will be a thing, Bilderberg? Do you think Bitcoin will be a thing, Bilderberg 2018? Felix again, now on Steemit. Okay, so thanks again, Felix. Do you think Bitcoin will be a thing, Bilderberg 2018? I think what you're asking is, you know, is Bitcoin going to be a topic of discussion at Bilderberg 2018? And yeah, I do think that it will be. In fact, a lot of the times their discussions are so broad, you know, they'll say something like, oh, we're going to talk about China or, you know, technology or something like that. So I think it's very, very possible that one of the topics of discussion this year is going to be either cryptocurrencies, you know, in general, or blockchain tech in general. But probably cryptocurrencies. And when they say that, we know they're going to be discussing Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I put out a video showing some of the connections from Bilderberg to the cryptocurrency space. I mean, Peter Thiel is involved with Bilderberg. He is on the steering committee, and he is the founder of PayPal, and he actually was one of the first investors into Ethereum. I believe he gave Vitalik Buterin $100,000 as a startup, I believe, in order to get Ethereum moving and off the ground. And I put together a video documenting the connections between Bilderberg and cryptocurrencies. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but if you go to my YouTube channel and you use the search feature on my channel for searching my videos, just type in Bilderberg and Bitcoin, and I'm sure you'll find it. And yeah, hands down, guaranteed, there is a Bilderberg influence in that space. They're not only going to try to usurp what's going on, they're going to try to completely monopolize it and use the blockchain technology for what it wasn't designed for. They want to centralize the currencies and do away with the decentralized ones. So I think we're going to see a major purge in 2018 of hundreds and hundreds of altcoins. And And they're going to push towards the more centralized ones like Ripple, the banker's coin Ripple, to be coming out on top. That's what we're going to see moving forward in 2018. I think Felix is Bilderberg pushing the centralized cryptocurrencies and trying to do away with the true legit decentralized ones such as Bitcoin. Okay, let me go back to the YouTube. Let's see if we have any more questions. Good question. What about number 7? What about number 7? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Thank you for your work, Dan. Thank you. How can someone be a racist when Islam is a religion? If someone is anti-Christian, is he a racist? Says Mikey O. Good point. I made that point in a video just the other day where I was calling out some guy on Twitter who was making the idiotic claim that that the mosque shooting was an act of racism, because the guy went into an Islamic mosque, and I had to point out to him, Islam's not a race. I mean, how does that work? I got no response from the guy. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll through for any more questions. I don't see any question marks. Let's see, a lot of comments. Thank you for all the kind comments, everyone. And just bear with me. I'm scrolling through tons and tons of comments here, looking for another question. Here's one. Hopsh27 says, thoughts on Gitmo remaining open? Well, let's just say I'm not surprised at all, and you know, any promises of a closure coming anytime soon should be ignored, because you got to look at their track record, and it's been a lie every single time, you know, up till now. So unfortunately, all that's necessary now is needed for them is to instill a little bit more fear into the minds of the population. They're just one false flag attack away from being able to re-legitimize something such as Guantanamo in the minds of the masses. And you know, I do think that's something we have to pay attention to moving forward, is the possibility of another 9/11 type false flag attack. And I do think that we are being conditioned for this, and I do think it's quite possible that something will be done under Donald Trump's watch, having to do with the collapse of the dollar, that would be blamed on Donald Trump. Not that it was a direct, you know, result of him in any way, shape, or form. It's obviously the deep state crashing the dollar, but I think he will be the one to take the fall for that. And this very well could be happening sometime before 2020. I think it's very, very possible. So something to pay attention to. Rika, the hopeful voluntarius, says the new segment title should be Truth Trifecta. I like it. The Truth Trifecta with PFT. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Okay, that one is so far in the lead. I'm gonna put that up with a steady tie right now with What You Need to Know, Truth Trifecta. I like it. We are currently tied. Maybe I'll do a poll on Twitter. We'll see. Roberto Rodriguez, do you consider yourself as a libertarian? I don't align myself with any particular political party or ideology, I would say yes. Fundamentally, my views are more so aligned with libertarian principles than any other party out there. But the more the ANCAP in me doesn't want to use the label libertarian. I don't even like the label ANCAP. But yes, my philosophical views, I suppose you could say, ideologically, I'm more in line with libertarianism than any other one. That's definitely safe to say. But I don't like to label myself with any of these things. I've never actually voted ever before, and I'm proud to say that. And so I've never officially been a libertarian or a conservative or a liberal or any of them. I'm just me checking it all out. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hopsh27, $2, very, very much appreciated. Hey Lee, we got our good friend Lee in the chat. There are several meetings held all summer in Canada due to the G7 being held in Quebec. Trudeau just released. We should be shining a light on. Excellent call, Lee. G7 coming to Quebec. This is going on. Maybe you could remind us of the dates, Lee, but I am definitely going to be attending that one. Hopefully it doesn't conflict with Bilderberg. I do think both may be happening in June. But yeah, that's going to be crazy. I mean, first of all, Quebec is filled with, a lot of the more troublesome aspects of the Black Bloc and those types of groups, which are very active in Quebec. As if you guys seen my film Into the Fire, you'll know that I documented the G20 when it came to Canada, and that was just a brutal violation of our civil liberties, our freedoms, our rights, basic fundamental rights here in Canada, completely violated during the G20 in Toronto. And now we have the G7 coming this year in Quebec. It is just going to be mayhem, and I'm definitely going to try to get down there and cover that one. Who knows? I mean, maybe we'll get another documentary film out of it, but that one's going to be nuts. June 8th and 9th, says Lee. Thank you. Thank you for the update. June 8th and 9th. Okay, so looks like I will be in Quebec on June 8th and 9th. And then probably most likely heading off to Bilderberg like a few days after, maybe even a few days before. It's tough to say yet. Hocus Pocus, you've never voted before? Correct. I have never ever registered to vote. And I wish other people were the same way. James Peters says Jesus is coming soon. I agree. I think that's an important point for people to pay very close attention to moving forward. I mean, that is the big picture. I saw a story you reminded me of, James, earlier today that I thought was interesting. What do you think of this? The home devices like Google Echo, or it's Amazon Echo. You got, the Google thing where you can talk to it. Somebody did a test and they asked them, "Hey Google, who's Allah?" And it had this big response about what that is. Hey Google, who's Buddha? Big response. Hey Buddha, hey Google, who's Brahman? Big response. But then when they said, "Hey Google, who's Jesus Christ?" it didn't have an answer. It just said, "I'm sorry." I can't remember what the response was, but it was like, "I'm sorry, we have no information on that," or something like that. Really interesting. It very quite telling too about the companies that are pushing these products. But that was interesting. I don't know. It's an interesting little experiment. I'd like to do that. I wanted to do an experiment with my phone. I was going to turn on Siri and see if it does the same thing. Hey Siri, who's Jesus Christ? See what it says. But I didn't want to give this thing access to tracking my voice and all that, so I did not do the Siri thing. But try it out. Do a test for yourself. If any of you guys have these home devices, or you use Siri, or you have any of these appliances you can talk to, ask them, hey, who is Buddha? Who is Muhammad? And then say, who was Jesus? And see what they say. You may find that it is very anti-Christian, or at least, in favor of any religion other than Christianity. Dan, where is Bilderberg meeting in 2018? I am not sure yet. We never really know when the meetings are going to be held, and usually until about a week or two before. It often gets leaked, or they'll just eventually post it. But in the past, it would usually get leaked generally about a week or two before the event. And then in the past, they would often try to throw us for a loop, make it look like it's at a particular hotel, and then last minute switch to another hotel or something like that. So we always have to be, leery of that happening. Be aware that they might try to throw us for a loop. But the answer to your question is, I don't know. We don't know. Probably won't know until about a week before the event. Dan, just read the Bible and pray. Don't go to church. Reading your Bible is good. Praying is good. I do believe going to a church can be good if you do find a good one. The evangelical movement in the United States has completely ruined the image of Christianity and what it is to, have fellowship in a church. That movement down there is just so bad. It makes it look so awful. I don't blame people for having a bad look on the church, but there are good ones out there. You find a good pastor, you find somebody who's been studying their Bible and having a one-on-one personal relationship with their creator for far longer than you have. Sometimes it's good to have fellowship with these people who, have been studying the book a lot longer than you have, and it's good to fellowship with them and learn from them. So, hey, I would agree. A lot of churches out there are completely twisted. I've gone into some and just had a really bad vibe and just never gone back. But then I've been in other ones too where I've gotten a lot of spiritual feeding from, and I think that's important for everybody to do. Yeah, moving forward, I think that's very important. Claire says, why don't you vote? Because I want nothing to do with the government, Claire. I do not want to support them in any way, shape, or form. I have a problem with the lesser of evils argument, and my research has proven to me that what we are dealing with is the illusion of choice. So I don't want to give props. I don't want to play into the system by doing that. I think it would send a huge message to the elite, to the oligarchy, to the puppet string pullers, if people eventually realized that they have the power here, and that they can stop giving away their own power through through bringing in some new politician to fix all the problems for them. So I guess that's just the anarchist in me. I do not want to support government in any way, shape, or form. People who make the argument that, hey, if you vote, then, if you didn't vote, then, you can't complain because, you didn't take part in this, so you have nothing to say about it. No, I say if you did vote, you can't complain. I mean, you're stuck with the guy who's, it's because of you that this person is in there, so that's partly that you're responsible. Me, hey, I didn't like any of them. I stepped back and said thanks, but no thanks. So that's my take on voting. Okay. Gonna scroll through and look for a few more questions. Lawrence McCurry, your thoughts on Canada's plan to subsidize newspapers? Man, what's happening with news print in Canada, not just print, any kind of news in Canada is absolutely disgusting what's going on. Right now, Justin Trudeau just gave his talk at a town hall meeting saying that we need to increase all the funding to the CBC, and we need to, Canadians need to give more to funding state broadcasting. How can they take this position when they literally just pulled off the biggest hoax ever with the hijab scissor hoax? I mean, CTV, I think it was there on the scene at the little girl's school within like an hour or two of that event happening. The whole thing was a big hoax. It was all fake news. But we're supposed to give more money to the government to support the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I know, Lawrence, you are dealing with suppression of freedom of the press yourself with your ward news. Viewers may not know, Lawrence McCurry right now in the chat has been writing articles for a newspaper out there. It's being basically shut down by the I suppose it'd be the Toronto municipality that's trying to silence that particular paper. But this is an ongoing problem, Lawrence, and I think they're going to, just like they're trying to monopolize the cannabis industry, they're going to try to monopolize the distribution of information. And I think they're going to be cracking down on guys like you, guys like me. We've already been seeing this with all the various pieces of legislation they're trying to pass, right? Like ACTA and CISPA and PIPA and SOPA and all these things that they attempted to be able to block the way we share information online, but all those attempts were thwarted. But that doesn't mean that the fight is over. I think that's going to be a big story in 2018 moving forward, is the battle for news, the battle for free and independent news to be able to freely operate in an open, true, free market that is media. We don't have that. They're monopolizing the industry, and that's why we need support. These channels like Press for Truth, need support from you, the viewers, guys. Like now more than ever, because as we said, they're giving your Canadian tax dollars to the CBC to produce fake news and propaganda. I mean, it's happening. We've seen it happen. It's been proven. I'm here trying to counter that propaganda. I guess you could say with our own propaganda. Propaganda has gotten a bad connotation to the word, but bottom line is that's what I do. I produce propaganda to counter the bad propaganda. But we need your help to be able to do that, because as you can imagine, it's an uphill battle. These guys have all the funding, they have all the equipment, they have all the gear. I have me, but I also have you. So that's the advantage I have over the mainstream media, is I actually have a connection with my audience. We can sit here, chat with one another. You can ask me questions and stuff like that. You're not going to get that from the MSM. You're just going to get fake, phony propaganda BS. And honestly, just turn your TV off. I think that's where we're at. It's time to just turn the TV off and tune into your independent alternative media channels like Press for Truth, as you are doing right now. Good for you. Okay. Let me scroll through, see if we got any more. We may have to go ahead and end the broadcast soon. Robert Goddard asks, how do you feel about the minimum wage increase? Minimum wage increase is one of the worst things that could have happened to Ontario. It's such a scam. I I've made a lot of videos about it. Actually, I did one where I really get into it called I think I called it Canada is a Socialist Cesspool or something like that. No, Canada is under socialist siege. So Robert, look that one up on my YouTube channel. Canada is under socialist siege, and you'll see, you know, I outline exactly why it's a bad idea to force raising the minimum wage upon these employers, and I warned what it was going to do. It was just going to lead to layoffs, and you know, we see companies like Tim Hortons, you know, making that point, saying, "Hey, you got a problem with this? Take it up with Kathleen Wynne." And they're right. You know, they're absolutely right. They're doing what they have to do as a private business to survive under these new rules. That's what all the other companies are going to do, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I didn't. I'm not a big fan whatsoever, and I think this idea that, you know, it's just unfair out there for people is just untrue. I mean, most people who are getting paid the minimum wage that they are getting paid is because that's all they deserve to be getting paid. I mean, so I don't know. I'm not a big fan myself personally. So check out my video right after it happened in Ontario. I put together that video called "Canada's Under Socialist Siege." Get into it in detail there. Roberto Rodriguez asks, since 9/11 was an inside job, do you think that Trump is still the bad guy for keeping the wars going? Well, yes, he's a bad guy for keeping the wars going. You know, as I understand it, there's been, I think, even more drone bombings under Trump already than Obama, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But it's the same. The same boss is the same as the old boss, guys. You know, I've pointed out many times on this channel my issues with Donald Trump, pointing out the fact, you know, that you do not become president of the United States at this day and age, at this stage of the game, unless the deep state is going to allow it. You know, and that's just the bottom line. He didn't, you know, this reality television star didn't manage to, you know, pull a fast one here and defeat the the deep state. Anybody who believes that, I think, is delusional, and you know, we really should start to be seeing that in his policies. I mean, look at the flip flopping he's done on the Syrian issue, the complete 180. He went on, he campaigned on, you know, leaving the Syrian people alone. Let's let them govern themselves. What did Rex Tillerson announce just a couple of weeks ago? Oh, they're going to stay in Syria. Oh, they're going to increase the efforts to oust Bashir al-Assad. Oh, they want regime change. Oh, what do you know? Everything he said he wasn't going to do. Because it has nothing to do with Trump, guys. He's just a puppet at this stage in the game, and I honestly think they're going to crash the dollar on his watch, and make him the fall guy, pin the blame of an economic downfall, the likes of which we'd never seen, on Donald Trump, in order to issue the global cashless society, new world order currency. And it'll all be done under his watch. We're being played for a bunch of fools, guys. So that's my take on the douche Trump. All right. Let me scroll through. See if we have any more questions. A lot of comments. Thank you guys for all the kind comments. All right, not getting too many more questions. Let me quickly hop on over to the Steemit. Give that a refresh, and if we don't have any new questions, we may just go ahead and end the broadcast for today. All right, let's see. More comments, no new questions. Okay, so so for the new name for the show, so far we got triple trifecta coming in, tying with what you need to know. Let me know, guys, in the chat. Do you like that? Do you like that suggestion? And see if we have any more questions really quickly. Once again, thank you for anybody who has contributed and supported our efforts here at Press for Truth by either, joining as a PFT member or as a PFT patron, or by pitching in on the super chat during our live broadcasts, or even by just following me on Steemit, steemit.com/@pressfortruth, and liking my content there and giving me SBD Steam dollars. Hopefully I can do the same back for you if you follow me there. Shoot me a message and say, hey, I watched your live YouTube and I'm following you now. Maybe you could follow me back, and I will. And I'll start upvoting your content and giving you Steam dollars as well. So, all right, I think I'm going to call it for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't see any new questions coming in. Somebody says, what do you think of Notcoin? I'm not sure what that is. Why is the Pope the Antichrist? I don't know that the Pope is the Antichrist, Claire. I did do a video talking about the Pope just a couple of days ago, actually, because he just came out against fake news. He's talking about the need to do away with fake news, and I pointed out the fact that he's a total hypocrite because he's utilized fake news many, many times. In fact, they had a staged event with a young illegal immigrant activist who ran up to greet him. He's being one of the biggest promoters of fake news as far as the Christian faith goes, promoting all sorts of anti-Christian ideas. So it's quite hypocritical of him to talk about fake news when he's one of the biggest promoters of false doctrines and false ideologies, twisting the Catholicism on a whole, really, by making statements like, atheists can do good work and can go to heaven, even if they don't believe in the name of Jesus. These are the kind of statements that amount to fake news coming from the Pope. So I'm not a big fan, and I did an expose a couple of days ago. So check that out. You can use the search feature on my YouTube channel to watch all my previous videos. I've been making videos here on YouTube since 2006, so going on 11 years now. It's a lot of videos. So if you are curious of what I have to say on any particular topic, use the search feature and just type in a certain word, and there's probably a good chance that I've had something to say about just about any topic you may be curious about. I've done a lot of videos here, so definitely use that. And I'm going to call it for today, guys. We've been going well over an hour now, so I think that's a good length for today's live stream video broadcast. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, and I strongly encourage you to check out the links in the description. Once again, we cannot do this without your support. I don't get the funding and the backing from the MSM, but what I do get is the support from you guys, the viewers, either with your patronage or as a PFT member, or by donating through PayPal or Bitcoin, or any other ways that you know how. Check the links in the description. Once again, it is greatly, greatly appreciated for those of you who do help us out. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you once again for tuning in. You keep fighting the good fight, and we'll see you next time. Take care.